How are you doing? Welcome. My name is Paula and I am a visual artist. And I recently started this podcast series, Creative Conversations with, really to talk to other female creatives within Ireland and to get a sense of why they do what they do, where they find their inspiration, and really to champion other female creatives as well. So recently I had the opportunity to talk to the wonderful Kady Berry. And if you know Kady's works, she works with encaustic. It's like a wax and you layer it up, and it was very fascinating to hear more about the process of what she does. Her work is beautifully ethereal, both in form and in colour, and I hope you'll really enjoy this conversation that we had. So thanks for listening. Please share and like and do all the usual things that you do with these kinds of things, and it would be very much appreciated. Thanks a million. Hi, Kady.
Hi.
How are you?
That was a nice intro.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, your work is amazing and well done. I know that you just released a new collection of works. Recently, was it last? It was on Wednesday, is that right?
What?
Yes, well done. Congratulations. So I guess you've been on quite a high and lots of work and in the zone, in the flow of it, and making and
I suppose I have. I'm still there. I'm still trying to get everything packed and ready to bring to the post office, things like that. So still distracted.
Yes. Well, brilliant. Well done. And the works were just beautiful. And I can see one of your lovely works hanging up behind you there. So maybe we could just start with telling us a bit about your story, maybe your background. Were you always interested in art? Was it something that was encouraged within your family? How did you get started, and where did it all come from? And
so yeah, I would have always been a creative kid, and it is quite a it is a big part of my childhood memories, you know, painting or drawing or making things. But at the same time, it didn't seem like a very practical career path, you know. I mean, I didn't know any artists or anything. So I always had that voice in my head saying, you need something practical. And when it came time to kind of the end of school, I felt quite lost. I didn't know what to do, because I knew it was creative, but I kind of had that voice in my head saying, you need something practical. And I think I felt that unless I knew exactly what I wanted to do, no one else was going to tell me, you know, or give me advice, and I just didn't know what I wanted. So I took a year out and I worked, and I enjoyed that, because actually I didn't really enjoy school very much, and the idea of even going back into that wasn't overly appealing. So I worked and I liked that. I liked the independence and earning money. And then that year came to an end and I had to decide again what I wanted to do. So I kind of felt like there was actually quite a lack of information. I don't know if anyone else felt this way, but it was before the internet is what it is now. You were just relying on books of courses.
It's crazy to think, isn't it? You know. And did you have a careers counselor in school, or you were just trying to find your way, or nothing?
He wasn't. She didn't counsel. I mean, I don't know, but I think if I wanted to go down a business route or economics or something, I think it would have been easier. But with creative, I don't know if it was just my school or if it's that was a general thing. I just don't know, but I didn't feel like the information was there. So yeah, I actually I remember just thinking, I don't know what I want to do. But at the same time, the idea of going back into the education system wasn't necessarily appealing. So I didn't mind the idea of a year off and working. But then, yeah, like I said, I came to the end of that year and knew that I needed some form of training or something. So I was looking through the books, as you do, and I saw this course, fashion design, and it seemed to incorporate all the things that I enjoyed, like art, design, and sewing. And it was part-time as well, so I could still work and didn't seem as intense. So I just decided to do that.
And was that a 2-year course? Was it a 1-year course?
And 3-year.
3-year, okay, yeah.
Yeah, each year a little bit different. And the second year was half of the course was art, and I spent more time on the art projects than I did on the fashion design side of things. So I think then I kind of knew that it wasn't, I wasn't really interested in going into the fashion industry itself.
It was a journey of exploring that, I guess, was it? Kind of getting into that and then realizing, oh, actually, this is really where I want to be.
And funnily enough, I didn't realize it at the time. It's only looking back, I realized, I spent much more time on the art than I did on the fashion at the time.
It's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, at the time, it's lovely. You don't get that time now, to just completely explore every avenue of maybe of your own creativity. But I just spent so much time on the art projects, but funny enough, then when I finished college, because I was sort of disillusioned with the fashion industry and I knew I didn't want to go down that route, it sort of stopped me a little bit creatively. I ended up moving to England, and then there's a little bit of a gap, really. I met my husband over there, and then we came back here and we got married, and I think I just did other creative things, but I wasn't really focused on anything specific until I discovered encaustic, I suppose.
I guess a lot of artists do that, don't they? They might study one aspect of kind of creativity or nothing maybe, but then they might have some inkling of creativity or being artistic, and then they move away, and it's almost like this gap of nothing, and then coming back to something that you realize that you're very focused on. Then
maybe, yeah. That's I suppose that's what happened for me.
So tell us a bit about your work then. So Kady, you work in encaustic. Can you explain to people what that is? Because for some people they might be wondering, not really too sure what that means, or how would you describe your work and what does that mean?
So, well, encaustic it's a wax-based paint. It's a combination of beeswax and mar resin, and you work from. So the easiest way to describe it is, instead of working from wet to dry, I work from hot to cold.
Okay.
So, I'm trying to think now. Does that describe it?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I'm thinking. Well, I guess I've seen it, but I guess I'm thinking of like a candle that's burning and the wax is melted, and so it's kind of like the wax. This probably is a terrible way to describe it, but the wax is melted, and so you use the wax, but obviously it's not melted wax, and then as it dries, you're able to kind of manipulate it across the surface. Is that right?
Yeah. So you can work in different ways. So either with a paintbrush, which the wax remains liquid and you paint with it. And then I also use an iron or different tools that you can get. And then you do have to, I hope I'm describing this well, but you have to heat it then. So you have to, every layer that you put on, you have to fuse as such.
Okay.
With a flame. And that does manipulate it.
Okay.
I'll explain it well.
Yeah, I guess I'm imagining them drying at various stages as well. And so then they dry and you can add more and dry and add more. Is that
so
kind of...
keep on, you can add as many layers as you want, and you just keep on adding till you get the desired effect, I suppose.
Yeah, because even the side of your on the panels that you do, even the side, you can kind of see the graduation and the layers of them, which in themselves are beautiful. You know, they're just lovely kind of details to them. So you can see the different kind of colors that would have been used, or it's beautiful. And do you work in series, or do you have a theme, or how does that work for you, like in terms?
I do tend to work in series now. I found that's the easiest way for me to work. I think it allows me to remain focused, but then it also allows me to take time off too, which I think when you have a kid is you need. So I work in series, and I just work solidly for however many months, and then I release the series and then take a bit of time off, and I go back to one.
And do you follow a theme then, Kady, as well? So do you have an idea about like what is the context of your work? So kind of in the background in your mind, are you thinking I'm working with a certain color palette, or I'm working with an idea behind what the inspiration is, I guess?
Yeah, I think this time I think it is probably more of a theme. So this time I was working, I really wanted the layers to seem quite obvious. I think I think that's one of the best things about encaustic is the layering, and that you can kind of, there's a sort of a transparency that you can see underneath. So for this series I really wanted to work on that and try, and I wanted to do it for quite a while, and I've always sort of put it off. So this time I really tried to focus on it, and it took me a while. It took me a couple of months to find the breakthrough and to be able to continue. But once I had the breakthrough, then it was a bit easier. But there is usually a theme that I try to follow through and build the series around.
Okay, lovely. Can I ask, how did you get into encaustic? Was that something that you came across a good while ago, or because it is a long time. Until I'd seen your work, Kady, I hadn't really come across it very much. So
I hadn't either, actually, until I first saw it. So it was at the RDS knitting and stitching show.
Okay, yeah.
I would go every year with my mum, and it's usually all the same stalls. And this particular year, when I was walking down one of the rows, there was this old lady sitting at a table, just one of those plastic folded tables. And I remember it so clearly. She had white hair and it was tied up in a bun, and she was just sitting there and she was painting with an iron. And I was just fascinated. I stood and watched her for ages. And then she finished her little her few pictures, and I went off to get my mum, and I dragged her back. Look at this. This is amazing. And we both stood there again and watched her for a while. And at the end of it, I thought I have to try this. You know, it's just so unusual. So I got the little starter kit, the wax blocks and the iron, and we drove home to Cork that night. So we got home quite late, but I, of course, had to try it.
Yes, you get new art supplies, and it's like, there's no stopping me.
No matter what time it is. So I had to try it. So I got it all out on the coffee table in the living room and started doing it. And I was showing my husband, look how amazing this is, you know. And and I was so bad. It was just awful. And I just thought, you know what? I'm tired. That's what it is. I'm tired. Go to bed, wake up in the morning, and it'll be fine. So I went to bed, and I got up the next day. And as soon as my husband went off to work, I started trying again, and I'm still really bad. And I thought, that's it. You know, I can't do it. I put it in a box, and it remained in a box probably for 3 years, maybe.
Wow, really? Gosh. That lady obviously made it look very easy.
So, we were moving house, and I was clearing out all the boxes stuff and opened a box, and here was this encaustic kit, and I was kind of thinking, who could I give this to? Who'd like this? But at the time I was doing just some fashion illustrations. So I thought, do you know what? I'll just do a little bit of mark making that I can use for the fashion illustrations, and then I'll give it away.
Yeah.
So I just started messing around with it and doing that bit of mark making, and it was my husband actually who got quite excited about it, and he said they could be paintings. And I was like, no, they couldn't.
Wow. He saw the potential. Isn't that brilliant? Yeah.
So one day he came in with one framed, and he was like, look, and I said, maybe. So then I started thinking of them more as paintings, and I just kept on working, just seeing what I could do. And then eventually that was it. I think it snowballed, and here I am today.
Brilliant. It's amazing. It's probably a good thing you put them away for a few years and then came back to them, you know?
Yeah. But I think what I realized is that I was trying to paint like that lady was, instead of just doing what I suppose came naturally.
Your thing. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. Isn't it amazing how when you come back with fresh eyes, or you go back to something a few years later, how it can just change things, you know? And as you said, you were obviously looking at her thinking, this is what I need to do, without, you know, really putting your own take on it and seeing it from that side of things, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
When
incredible.
You want to do encaustic, I'm like, don't feel like you have to copy anybody, just do what comes naturally, because it's quite unusual to work with, I think. So you have to find what feels comfortable for you.
Sure. And I can imagine it takes a bit of flow to get into it as well then. So yeah. So you started a few years ago and you came back to that. Now at this stage, how were you thinking of this in terms of it being a business, or seeing yourself as an artist or an entrepreneur? How long did it kind of take you to get to that stage, or how did that work then, Kady? Or is that something that you still struggle with, like most artists?
Oh my goodness. So let me think. So I was painting at this point, and I think I had set up the Instagram account. And it was something I was just kind of doing on the side. And I was working as well at the time, but I was becoming more and more miserable in my job. And first I had a really great manager at first, and she gave me really good hours that allowed me to paint as well. So I was kind of doing that, but then she left, and the atmosphere in the job completely changed. And And then I noticed it just started to affect even my creativity. I didn't even want to paint because I just felt it was draining. And one day in work, it was a particularly bad day, a really, really bad day. So I thought I can't do this anymore. This is not normal. So I went home and I spoke to my husband and I was like, what, can we afford to do this? Can I just maybe focus on art for a while? And he's always been supportive. So
yeah,
do what you have to do. And so the next day I went in and handed in my notice. And that was the beginning of not so much thinking about it as a business, but at least focusing on it properly for a period of time to see if I could take it somewhere. I think if I had to think of anything as a business, I wouldn't do it. It would put me off any of that sort of side of things.
Yeah.
So I just did baby steps, focused on painting first, and then just kind of see where it would take me. But the main motive was to get out of
that job. I know, but it's such a leap. Like, what a leap of faith just to go. And also, I think how incredible if you have a spouse or a partner who is supportive and behind you and kind of champion you along the way to say, I can see the potential of this, or I can see your passion, and I can see how this could, work for you. And
I wouldn't have done it off my own back for sure. I had the confidence at all. So I think I needed someone to kind of push me a little bit, and also I probably needed that job to push me over the edge.
Yes, sometimes it takes those things, doesn't it?
Unfortunately. So that's how it started.
Wow. And so you also mentioned you've got a little person in your life as well. So how does that affect you as an artist, as a mother? Does that come into your work at all? Do the two correlate, or how do you work around your art with having a young child as well?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely affects the way that you work. I know now that because my time is more limited, I have to be more focused. So, but also I'm less precious, I think. If I have to go into the studio because I only have a certain amount of time in a day, and I go in, and I'm not so worried about what I'm doing. I just get stuck in, and something goes wrong.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter. But I try to work around her, and I work when she either sleeps or at the weekends when my husband can look after her. So it's just about sort of maybe a bit of time management, and also I think it's helped me to relax anyway. That if I can get into the studio, I can, and if I can't, I can't. I don't mind, and I don't put the pressure on myself either.
Okay.
Priority, really.
Yeah. So you don't feel the weight of a daily routine of having to get into the studio and doing something.
Not at all, but I suppose, like I said, if I work in series, it helps because you have time off.
Yes, I can see. Yeah,
that helps ease a bit of the guilt, I think. But I tend to work early mornings before my husband works, so that gives me enough time, say.
Yeah.
But that would be most ones, and actually I do also find it easier to work once the spring comes, once the brighter mornings come, because getting up in the dark is not it's not enjoyable. So but once now the brighter mornings are here, it's quite easy to get up in the morning and go and paint for a few hours before you kind of have to start the day. But I would never put the pressure on or feel the need that I have to get into the studio. If, you know, I'm tired or if she's whinging or something.
Which just goes with the territory. Yeah. Thankfully, the laughs and the smiles far outweigh that for the most part.
Most days.
Yeah, I always am fascinated by other women who have children and who are artists working freelance or entrepreneurs or creatives, that, you know, how they manage their time, but the expectations of motherhood upon them, but also their expectations of their own creative career as well, and how the two meet and merge. And also, it's interesting that you say as well, Kady, about how you manage your time. Because I also felt like when I had children that I was a lot more productive in having children than I had been prior to it. I mean, I used to be, I'm quite prolific in what I make, but I feel like, as you said, like your time is very limited, so you have to be focused in what you do. And I think there's less kind of faffing around and
It's
part of the artist life as well.
Good.
Yeah. So what would you say, like, some of your challenges that you would have as, like, about being an artist and a creative? Do you have anything that you struggle with, I guess?
It would be, I suppose the challenges are maybe that balance of being a mum and that really wanting to be my priority, but also if you're creative, you have to get that out, don't you?
Yeah,
and so
definitely.
I'm trying to think now.
Like, would you find the like the back end of things? So, say for instance, managing your website or
yeah, exactly,
sending things out in the post or that kind of thing. Any of those? All of those.
Now that you mention, I have a list of challenging things. I know it's funny when you think of someone being an artist that you think, oh, that's lovely, isn't it? You get to paint all the time, but it's just
day long.
painting is part of what you do. So once the paintings are finished, and then they have to be photographed and edited and put up on the website, and then they need to be packed and brought to the post office, and the amount of time that takes, and actually that's the harder part with a kid as well, trying to do that. So because I actually try to do that, things like the packing, I actually do that while she plays away. So that is the most time consuming, and also it's the most, I don't know if I say frustrating, just the time that takes, and this especially on the computer, doing the photographing and the editing for the website.
Interesting, isn't it? All of those things, obviously, like, I think you think that people, as you said, people sit in their studio and make lots of work, but the reality is most of the time is on the other things.
Instagram or emailing people, or so it goes. It's part of it, and it's still very enjoyable, and I'm very grateful that I get to do it.
Absolutely,
that's definitely that is the challenging bit, actually.
And so where would you find your inspiration? Do you ever feel that you are stuck creatively, or do you then have a way of trying to get back into things, or do you always have this stream of inspiration, or do you look to certain things to inspire you to continue on with your work?
Does anyone always have a a flow of inspiration.
That'd be the
I wouldn't
dream.
be those
Be the
people.
dream.
It's that thing as well where it's not like, before you have kids, where you can just go in search of inspiration, where you have that time to just. I used to go out for a walk and take my camera and photograph things, and now, I mean, I don't get that opportunity. So now it's more about absorbing as much as I can throughout the day. So if we go for a walk, I just have to try and soak it all up. And if we're, sitting on the floor looking through books, I just try and pick things out. But I noticed last year when I was doing the work for the exhibition that I think actually a lot of my inspiration is still coming from the fashion design side of things. Okay. And I think I discovered too that that's maybe what drew me to encaustic, because a lot of the elements that I liked about design, the layering and tactility and the textures and embellishments and all that kind of thing, that you can actually incorporate that into encaustic. So I think that's where a lot of the inspiration is. And when I think of the artists that I like, I think they do a lot of that as well, layering. And I think that's where I draw it from, a lot of the inspiration. But I think like I was saying, I go into the studio with an idea or theme, and it does take me a little while to kind of break through to get exactly what it is that I want. But then once I do, it sort of flows a bit easier. But to get to that point where I kind of want to get what's in my head onto the panel or whatever, it does take a little bit of time.
It's like a warm-up, I guess, isn't it? Like, if you do like sketches or something, you kind of do a little bit of a warm-up until you get into kind of the flow and the swing of
flow, I
guess. Yeah.
So
exactly. What would be your big dream if you had one thing that you think, this is where I'd like to go and this is something that I would love to do? Do you have anything that you think that would be my ideal?
I think at the moment it's probably not a very big dream, but I think I just like to be able to continue to do what I'm doing, because I think with another child on the way, and that will mean that the studio will be gone. Because
for the moment, it'll come back.
Encaustic isn't the type of thing you can just pick up and put away, and especially when there's kids around as well. So I'm not entirely sure of what the future will bring or where I might be able to set up and work. There's not really a lot of spare space in the house. So at the moment anyway, the dream is to be able to continue at some point in the near future, and just to be doing what I'm doing, because I love it.
Love it, isn't it brilliant? It's amazing. Kady, thank you so much for joining me today, and your work is just absolutely stunning. It's beautiful, and I wish you all the best with everything over the next few weeks and this next season that you're going into, and that creativity will come out in other ways, or you'll make, I see somebody here. Say hello.
Hi.
You'll get to you get to the next stage. It's all various phases and levels.
There are a lot of phases.
But I just wish you all the best of everything over this next season, and congratulations and well done on your recent beautiful collection. And just tell people where they can find your work, and I will put all the various links up so people can find your work as well. But if you could just let us know where would be the best places that they can find you.
I suppose my website, probably kadyberry.com, and Instagram obviously is I'm not good at many other social media platforms, but I
That's
do like
fun.
Instagram. So
Yeah, great.
and that's where I probably keep things most up to date as well. So
Okay. Well, I'll link those in, and people can go and have a look at your beautiful works. And I wish you all the best in going to continue to create all your amazing works over this next little while. And thank you so much for joining me.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Kady. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.